Okay. This is application number 2023-1531 POSIC. It's at Horizon Centre.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, sorry, I'm just going to introduce. It's Helen Bowman, Presenting Officer. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this application relates to this building that we're in at the moment. So hope members did the site visit on the way in this morning. So it's for 2 air source heat pumps to replace the existing gas system on the building too, and that will go towards meeting our net zero targets. So basically they're in the enclosed area at the back of the building, so in this area here. So you'll see on the photographs in a second, we've got an existing enclosure there where we've got some various bits of plant and machinery and bins and things, and they'll go in there. So you can see here, there's existing things. So they'll be hidden in there, so we won't see them at all. So visually, completely acceptable. And obviously the other impact really with these is there is a noise impact. There were some initial concerns, but that now has been resolved, and we're happy that all the nearby receptors in terms of residential, etc., won't be adversely affected. As a whole, the application is acceptable, and we'd like to recommend approval for it.
Thank you, Helen. Lana, you have a question?
I do, Chairman. Why did this need a planning application at all? Why does this need planning consent? I don't quite understand.
In terms of air source heat pumps, there is some permitted development. That's largely for residential properties. These are going to be quite large pieces of equipment, so they don't fall within the permitted development. So they require permission for that reason.
Does anybody else have any questions for Helen? No? Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask Nicole Perryman to come to the public speaking desk, please. Nicole, you have 5 minutes, and you'll be notified when there's 1 minute left.
Thank you very much.
You start when you start speaking.
Thank you. Good morning, members. My name is Nicole Perryman. I'm a planner at Ingleton Wood. I'd just like to begin by thanking council members and officers for the opportunity to speak this morning. The presentation by your officer was comprehensive. I'm not going to repeat the matters covered or take up too much of your time on this particular application. I do just want to provide some further context on these proposals and highlight a number of key points. The applicant for this item, my client, is Broadland District Council, which is the reason that we're here today in front of committee. Decisions have recently been made at full council level to adopt a net zero target to be achieved by 2030. In order to support the delivery of this target, an application was made to the Public Sector Decarbonisation Scheme to seek support for the reduction in carbon emissions and carbon consumption at operational council buildings. The proposals that are the subject of this planning application being heard today fall into this scheme. As you've just heard from your officer, the proposal seeks sustainable upgrades to the very council building that we're sitting in today. The building will benefit from the installation of 2 reversible heat pumps to significantly upgrade the existing heating and cooling plant that serves this building. These proposals will allow for the decommissioning of 2 gas-fired boilers and 2 air chillers. Taken together, the proposals will improve the efficiency of the heating and cooling system of the building, as well as allowing further renewable energy technology integration into the site. These principles are fully in accordance with Policy GC5 of the Development Management DPD and Policy 1 of the Core Strategy, which recognise the strategic importance for the district to address climate change impacts and promote sustainability. In developing the details of this scheme, we have worked closely with specialist consultants, the local planning authority and key stakeholders, and as such, significant work has been undertaken to inform this application and to ensure any potential impacts are mitigated. With respect to visual impacts, as you've just seen from the slides and the photographs, and hopefully we'll see regularly in the building, the heat pump units will be installed in the location of the 2 existing air chillers that are to be decommissioned. Importantly, the installation is within the existing chiller enclosure at the rear of the building and out of view. As such, there will be no change in the visual appearance of this elevation of the building, and the proposals will not lead to any significant harm on the character and appearance of the area. In this respect, the proposals fully comply with policy GC4 of the Development Management DPD. In regard to impacts from noise, an acoustic assessment accompanies this application, which demonstrates that noise levels emitted from the heat pumps would be acceptable to the surrounding users and would not cause any significant harm to neighbouring amenity in accordance with policies EN4 and GC4 of the Development Management DPD. The Council's Environmental Quality team have been consulted on this application and they've confirmed that they have no comments. In summary, this planning application complies fully with the Joint Core Strategy, the Broadland District Council Development Management DPD and the MPPF. There are no objections from any statutory consultees or neighbours and therefore no planning reasons as to why this application should not be supported. The benefits of this application are significant in providing renewable energy generation and a reduction in running costs for this council-owned building. I therefore respectfully request that members endorse the recommendation of their officer and grant approval of this application subject to the conditions that have been outlined. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to respond. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul, would you like to ask a question?
Thank you. Well, a bit of feedback. Just a couple of clarification ones, really. So, is there any work proposed inside the building at all, or is it all going to be outside?
I believe that the system will require some work inside the building, but obviously that doesn't require planning permission, so that's not part of the proposals that are part of this application.
Okay, and in terms of disruption outside, is there going to be, you know, a lot of construction traffic? I don't think there is, but I mean, is it going to be much going on?
No, it should be fairly minimal. Obviously, as you're aware, that the site is well serviced anyway. It's going in an existing enclosure, so there's no groundworks needed or anything. It's sitting on the existing slab, so it should be fairly minimal.
Are there any further questions for the speaker? No? Thank you very much. We'll go to the debate. Councillor Hempsall, please.
Yeah. My apologies, Chairman. My device has just malfunctioned, so I can't look up what the conditions are. Helen, could you just...
It's just time limit and in accordance with the drawings. So they're not any specific conditions required for this type of application.
So the application is entirely contained within the existing compound. There's no noise mitigation on top of that, and I still don't understand why this needed a planning application. Like actually, but I'm happy to move it, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul.
Sorry, just a quick question. And we're happy that it's not going to disrupt the work, you know, going on in the buildings, whilst, you know, all this stuff's going on.
That in itself is not a material planning consideration that we're doing today, but I would think obviously there will be, if you're putting in a new system, there will be some disruption, but it would be quite minor, and that would be something that would be managed internally, how that work was carried out, but it's not something we can consider today.
I don't know, you'd like to comment?
Yes, I fully support this proposal for renewable energy provision at the Horizon building. This building already has hundreds of solar panels. It also has EV charging points, and this new proposed heating system will help the council to meet its targets to reduce carbon emissions. So I believe that Councillor Hemsall has proposed that we approve this application. I'd like to second it.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, we will go straight to the vote. All those in favour, please.
That's unanimous, Chair.
Thank you. Right, I'm going to ask Helen to go through planning appeals. We have 1 and 2 in the process. Is it all?
Yes, thank you, Chair. We've got one that's just been submitted, which is at the top of your page, and obviously we'll report on that in due course. And the 2 that we can report on, the first one relating to Little and Great Plumstead related to a change of use of existing holiday let to a separate residential dwelling. That was dismissed on appeal. The inspector agreed with our consideration, which was it was the creation of a new dwelling which was in an unsustainable location for an independent dwelling and therefore was dismissed. And the second one was in Horsham St Faith, and that was for an erection of a garage. It was quite a substantial garage, 6 metres by 3 metres, in an open frontage garden of a bungalow. And there were no other frontage buildings of this scale along this row of houses, and we felt it would be unacceptable impact on the character and appearance of the area. However, the planning inspector disagreed with that assessment and felt although there was some impact, he didn't think the general open character of the front of the houses would be unacceptable impact given the low profile of the height of the garage. So that was a subjective one where the inspector came up with a different consideration to officers and therefore was allowed.
Thank you, Alan. If there's nothing else, I will